Hi everyone, it's Neil here, Neil Broadway from the KB Gold team. Just shooting you this video this afternoon just to share some important information before signing up when becoming a KB Gold member. So basically the first point I'd like to make is that you need to make sure that when you fill out your name on the online application form, this needs to match the name on your passport, your photo driving licence or your government ID issued card. Whatever ID you're using, basically this just needs to match the same as your online application. So if you're a Mr. Charlie Brown and you sign up to KB with that name, and the name on your passport is Charles Brown, it is highly likely that your KYC documents will not be approved. So just take a few extra moments just to make sure that whatever name you've got on your passport, that's the name that you put on your online application if you're using a passport. But whatever ID form you're using, just make sure that the name matches what you're putting on the online application. And also you need to be aware that on that photo ID card it needs to show your full name and also your date of birth. Furthermore, you need to be aware that if you do make a mistake and after submitting your application, you can't go back and change or edit your name. So then we come on to a few notes about your address. You need to enter your residential address. It needs to be a full residential address, which needs to go in the address field because delivery can only be received at a residential address. And so this also needs to match the same address on your utility bill when submitting your KYC documents. So if you have a PO box address, don't worry. You can still use a PO box, but you just need to make sure that when you do put your address, you put in your full residential address, and then in brackets you write your PO box address in the same field afterwards. You can see in the example quite clearly there, you just write your address as normal and then your PO box address goes in brackets, because be aware that the KB will not deliver gold to a PO box address just because it's not secure. So those are the points around the address. Okay, this is about signing up for more than one account, because with KB you're allowed to have two accounts, one as a personal position and one as a business position. So you need to just be aware that if you're signing up for those two positions, you need to use separate emails and separate phone numbers when doing so, because if the system remembers or sees that you have the same number, it's likely that your application won't go through. So just be aware for that, because we want your application to go through as smoothly as possible. So also in the phone field of your application, you will only be given the option of entering a mobile or a cell number, but just to make this clear, you can actually use any number. You can use a landline phone number. So but just on the online application it only seems to give you the option of putting a mobile or cell number. But again, if you're having those two positions, one personal and one business, you also need to use two separate phone numbers. Okay, a little bit about KYC documents. KYC stands for Know Your Customers or Customer. Due to KB being a financial organisation, the documents that you submit are all about confirming your identity and confirming your address. So much like any bank or building society, today if you walked in you'd need some form of proof of address and photo ID, and this just helps prevent any fraudulent activity. The final point I would like to make on KYC documents is that to get approved you need to upload the two documents, which is all done online via your back office, and it is quite simple, and there will be another video that shows you the whole process of how to upload your documents. But the first document that is accepted is you're going to be your passport, driver's license, government ID photo cards, and it must contain obviously a photo, your name and your date of birth, and that's for proving your ID. And then the last thing is that you need to confirm a proof of address. This needs to be a residential address, as I mentioned in the previous slide, and this can be a utility bill, a phone bill, a bank statement, and it must show your residential address. If the bill just has a PO box on it, you may need to consider looking into that, because it will need to have a residential address on it, and it must also be dated within the last 3 months. So those are just a few pointers on signing up to become a KB Gold member. And when you go through the online registration, it's just been made really just to give you a few tips to make sure that your application goes through as smoothly as possible. Anyway, my name's Neil Broadway. If you've got any questions, contact any member of our team, and we'll speak to you very soon. You take care now. Bye bye.